I remember being very shocked when I came across Narada for the first time in Indian movies.
Yeah.
Because there he seemed to be kind of almost like a farcical character, like Narayana, Narayana, and this kind of like funny and weird personality, which was very different from the kind of personality I was reading about in the Bhagavatam. And I noticed one epithet of Narada, which is never used in the Bhagavatam, but which is quite common in other Puranas, is Kali Priya, which
Mm.
means a person who loves quarrel. And
Mm.
and of course Narada, in a sense, you can see that side of him in the Bhagavatam as well. He enjoys kind of bringing the story forward by creating this kind of tension, sometimes in very dramatic ways, as when he instructs Kamsa in the 10th canto. But but he certainly isn't this kind of funny or strange character in the Bhagavatam. Where do you think that idea comes in from?
Um, I don't know for sure. I mean, there's I think there's more than one thing that goes into it. One is the need in Indian films to have in these religious Indian films to have a joker character, which is always useful in any kind of dramatic
Mm,
production to have the villain and to have the hero and then to have a joker. But I not only it is incongruous, but I've always been very distressed by those depictions because having grown up studying the Bhagavata, this was the Narada Muni I've known and come to love and respect for the incredible ways in which he's such a good teacher and I think that's the broader context of this entire chapter, right? That he is telling this story as a mode of teaching. And Narada Muni is, of all the things he does, perhaps the most effective or most frequently we see in the Bhagavatam is him as in the role of a teacher. And so he's telling now a story as a means of teaching. And I think some of it is also the fact that the Bhagavatam often takes the personalities of different Puranas and reworks them to demonstrate them that they are in actuality bhaktas of the highest caliber. So
mm,
we see this in the story of Vritrasura, for example, and King Indra. That story goes all the way back to the Rig Veda. It's one of
mm,
the most ancient episodes we have, and it's told in every Purana, it's told in Mahabharata. But when we meet Vritrasura in the Bhagavata, he becomes not the villain, but the hero of the story. And he is a bhakta of the highest caliber, right? And same with Prahlad. He's always, of course, a devotee in the other Puranas also, but he really becomes the focus of the story in the Bhagavatam in the way that he is not in the Vishnu Purana. And he is not merely practicing dharma, he is actually a bhava bhakta, just like Narada Muni is. So we see the Bhagavatam do do these transformations or revelations of the inner character of personalities. Kunti is another example, right? Queen Kunti in the Mahabharata is a very different kind of person than in the Bhagavatam, where she emerges as this very pure and elevated devotee. So I think there's something of that to be said also in
mm,
relation to Narada Muni's character in the Bhagavata. There's some, I think, simple misconstrual of his character as a result of dramatic purposes in Indian Bollywood movies. And then there's also this sense of, as you described, how he is much more cunning and scheming in other Puranas and very much a pure bhakta in the Bhagavatam.